Good morning. It's 5:30 a.m. on Friday the 13th, June. Friday the 13th. So let's go over the examples of verbal and emotional abuse, examples of emotional abuse, examples of narcissistic text messages, narcissistic abuse, and how to escape a narcissist. Okay? So let's start with this one here. Verbal and emotional abuse encompass a range of behaviors that can harm an individual's emotional well-being and self-esteem. Examples include insults, name-calling, attempts to scare, isolate, or control the victim. Verbal abuse may also involve threats of harm to the victim, their loved ones, or pets, as well as attempts to control the victim's finances or how they spend their money. Emotional abuse can also involve gaslighting, which is a form of manipulation that makes the victim question their memory or sanity. Other examples of emotional and verbal abuse include controlling the victim's interactions with others, such as demanding passwords to their phone, email, and social media, and trying to stop the victim from going to work or school. Additionally, emotional abuse can involve making the victim feel that their needs or feelings are unimportant compared to those of the abuser. I can tell you, after all the research I've done and everything I've experienced, I know damn well a victim will fall into this category more than once. Okay? A victim will keep being sucked into this type of dynamic until they learn their fucking lesson. Okay? And sometimes, whether they're a victim of prior abuse or not, they have absolutely no idea that they're being abused. Because, again, a lot of women are brainwashed into believing that men are just that way. Men are supposed to be that way. Fuck no. To my kids and to their mothers, men are not supposed to be that way. Men are not gruff 24/7, 365 days a year. No. Okay? As a man, we are gruff when we're grumpy. Okay? It's an emotional state. Okay? At no point is it appropriate for a man or a woman, as the abuser, to behaving in such a manner that they're a covert narcissist. Okay? It's where you do all these subtle things in the background to manipulate. It doesn't have to be aggressive. Okay? That's the whole point of this. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It can be very psychological, sociopathic. Okay? To control somebody for whatever the reasoning is. Okay? Let's just keep reading here. Okay? Examples of emotional abuse. Emotional abuse can manifest in various ways, often involving behaviors that undermine a person's sense of self-worth, autonomy, and emotional well-being. Some common examples include gaslighting, making someone doubt their own memory or perception of events, leading them to question their sanity. Blame and shame, always placing the blame on others for their actions, never looking inward to understand their own emotions and or behaviors. Invalidation, undermining or dismissing someone's feelings, making them feel that their emotions are not valid or important. Control and isolation. Controlling who someone interacts with, monitoring their digital activities, and creating distrust around their relationships. Okay? I have a stalker that is doing just like that. Okay? I have a stalker that married the woman of my dreams, the woman I fell in love with. And he keeps making new accounts every time I block him. He's trying to do this, okay? He's trying to do some type of control, monitoring me because I have contact or did have contact or whatever. I have feelings for this woman or blah, blah, okay? If he's doing this to her, this would make sense as to why he's constantly popping up on all my social media. He's paranoid, okay? Emotional blackmail, using guilt trips, threats, or withholding affection to manipulate someone into doing whatever the abuser wants. Doing or not doing whatever the abuser wants, like I said in the previous video, okay? Because really, what the abuser wants is for you to not do everything that you do, and the abuser wants you to do what they want you to do, okay? So that's why I keep correcting this. Next one is constant criticism. Nitpicking over small details such as clothing or word choice, making someone feel that they're never good enough. Nitpicking their clothing, tell them they can't wear something or they have to dress a certain way. Word choices, trying to correct somebody's verbiage or control their mouth, period. Okay? Making them feel that they're not good enough. Always comparing them to others, trying to get them to always trying to up the ante, trying to say, oh, that's just not good enough, blah, 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 okay? Even though the abused victim is trying to level themselves at those standards, but in every time they do that, the abuser says, no, sorry, that's not good enough. And it keeps raising the fucking bar. But in reality, it's just the control, okay? Ignoring or dismissing. Refusing to acknowledge someone's feelings or concerns, often by turning conversations back to themselves, okay? I would say something or ask a question, and then she would blatantly ignore it or discredit it, dismiss it, put it down in some way, okay? Or trying to turn the conversation back to her. My mom does that. It's fucking annoying as fuck. Again, my mom has severe mental health issues, and all three women, Lord help them. Threats of self-harm, using threats of self-harm to manipulate and control someone, making them feel responsible for the abuser's actions. Overprotection, limiting someone's learning and social interactions, which can prevent them from developing independently. That could be a narcissistic parent. Overprotection, okay, limiting someone's learning and social interactions, which prevent them from developing independently, okay? Like in my case, shut the fuck up and go to your room. No one needs to fucking see your ass. No one needs to talk to you. You don't need to be talking to anybody out here. I don't care. I don't give a shit about what you think. Go to your room. You don't need to go out. Your sister can go out because she's a girl. She's a girl. Go to your fucking room and shut the fuck up. Okay. Like, there's all kinds of fucking different things. um, in my case, it wasn't actually overprotection. In my case, it was the control. Okay. Another form of overprotection would be acting like you care. Oh, the movie Carrie. They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you. Okay, that's a little over extreme, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that woman, that mother was fucking psycho. Let's see. Exposure to mistreatment. Exposing someone to the mistreatment of others, which can be a form of emotional abuse. Okay? So, I've researched some things, and on the male side of things, when they are the aggressive, abusive, narcissistic, sexual predator type, they will literally take their victims to these gatherings to introduce them to these vicious things. Okay? And that's an extreme case. Well, at the same time, on a lesser case, a guy could take his wife to a party or something, and he knows his buddy is abusive to his wife, and he's standing here laughing, grinning, thinking it's funny that the dude's abusing his wife, while the abused victim, his wife, is watching this shit happen at his neighbor's house. She's horrified. She's scared shitless, and her abuser is laughing and grinning about it, thinking it's fucking funny. Oh, she deserved it, blah, blah, blah. No, motherfucker. Or even putting stuff on TV. Like constantly watching movies such as Enough and other movies about domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, control. They will literally put that shit on TV nonstop. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they will do that as a Freudian slip. They will do that as a way to expose you to that treatment, a way of showing you what's coming. Very vindictive shit. It's fucking sick. Isolation, restricting someone's ability to communicate with others, such as limiting phone calls, internet access, or visits with family and friends. Okay. I've witnessed that. I've had to take a couple ladies out of a home because of that motherfucker doing that. Okay. Now, mind you, there are some women that do choose to isolate, and then they end up in an abusive relationship, thinking they're trying to isolate, to work on themselves, work on their emotions, get over their past, and become the better version of themselves, right? But little did they know, they got with a covert narcissist who's belittling them every step of the fucking way. So they're not actually healing. They're stuck in a fucking loop where she's stuck in the Bible and can't go further than the Bible and look for other resources yet because she's stuck being abused. So she's stuck trying to work on herself, but being stuck in this abusive household is not doing anything. It's just looping. Okay? And for anybody out there, ladies or men, the statement about the Bible, there's more to the spirituality and religious stuff than just the Bible. Okay? Don't get stuck on the Bible. It's not the end all. Alright? And sitting there memorizing scripture is for yourself. It does not mean you need to go out and preach that fucking scripture to others. You learn the scripture for yourself. So sitting there memorizing scripture to be able to verbalize in front of somebody is fucking useless. Okay? You're talking to a brick wall every time you do it. Alright? So, with that said, there's more help out there than just the Bible. All right? If you are stuck in these situations and you're being limited in any way, shape, or form, but you can still see me, start looking for these abused victim hotlines and shit. If your abuser is at work right now and you're stuck at home, find these abuse hotlines and get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. The last one on this list is denial of events. Denying that certain events occurred or describing them in a way that contradicts the victim's memory, which is a form of gaslighting. Okay? So if the black cat crossed the street in front of my house, and that's fact, but the neighbor said the cat was not black and it did not cross in front of my house, it went the opposite direction. You know what I'm saying? Like, the story will change from the facts to whatever that person wants it to be. Okay? It's that simple. Narcissistic examples of narcissist text messages. Okay? A narcissist often uses text messages as a tool for manipulation and control, displaying a range of behaviors that can be emotionally draining for the recipient. Here are some examples of a narcissist text message. Okay? Now, before I start reading this, a narcissist will also use text messages as a form of control, refusing to take phone calls or any other type of communication. Okay? They will also avoid face-to-face contact if they have been caught. Okay? If they are a narcissist that is intimidated by you as a person, they will avoid you face-to-face contact. Okay? Narcissists may send messages that seem caring one moment and then cold the next, leaving the recipient confused and questioning their own feelings. They might send a flurry of text messages saying the same thing repeatedly, such as, "Call me now. I am amazing because I bought the groceries." Oh, that's being conceited. "Why aren't you calling me? Did I do something wrong? Don't you love me?" They could use grand declarations early on, such as, "You're the only one who gets me," or "I've never felt like this before," which are designed to hook the recipient. Narcissists may also use emotional blackmail, such as, "You don't care about me," or "After everything I've done for you," to make the recipient feel bad and justify their behavior. They might send text messages that are filled with mixed signals, guilt trips, blame, such as, "I never said that." That happened to me multiple times. "You must be remembering it wrong," or "This is your fault. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have reacted this way." Another common tactic is to use flattery to create a sense of dependency, such as, "You're the only one I can rely on. I don't know what I'd do without you." Okay, now, those last two statements, okay, if you are in a serious relationship and you have that trusting bond feeling and it's there, "You're the only one that I can rely on," is a statement I would say to a trusted friend. Okay? "I don't know what I'd do without you." Again, it's something I would say to a trusted friend or significant other, a spouse. Okay? But an abusive, manipulative person will use those hook lines to make you feel special. Okay? So you're going to watch it. Examples of narcissistic abuse. Gaslighting is a form of narcissistic abuse where the narcissist denies your reality and making you question your own experiences and what happened. For example, a narcissist may say, "You're imagining things that never happened," or "I never said it that way." Narcissists often criticize to elevate themselves and diminish others through verbal abuse. Um, these comments are designed to undermine your confidence and self-worth. For example, continuous comments about your appearance, abilities, or decisions that leave you feeling insecure and unworthy. Okay, and basically diminishing, criticizing who you are as a person, and what you do for a living, and how you carry yourself. Emotional manipulation, similar to emotional blackmail, is used by narcissists to control their victims, often by switching between affectionate and emotionally withdrawal. This unpredictable behavior keeps you emotionally off balance and dependent. For example, a narcissist is loving one day and cold or distant the next, leaving you consistently seeking their approval. Narcissists may isolate their victims from their support systems, friends, and family. By doing so, they gain more control and reduce outside influences that could help them see the emotional abuse more clearly. For example, telling you your family or friends are bad influences and you could spend less time with them, and making you dependent on the narcissist. Okay. I see this often. Okay. And it's a mixed thing here. It is mixed. So again, my example of the woman that thinks she's isolating herself to work on herself. Okay? But she ends up being influenced by this verbally, emotionally abusive motherfucker who cons her into isolating herself out in the middle of nowhere, getting the whole loan in her name, and controlling who she has contact with, her own family, friends from work, everything. And they get stuck into it. They get stuck in this loop where they first don't know what's happening, and then they get stuck into this abusive thing where they will just never know it because they don't have the friends, the family, the neighbors saying, "Hey, hon, that guy's not good for you. We're not trying to control and manipulate your relationship. We're seeing his abuse." A lot of women don't see it. And a lot of women don't see it until motherfucker hits her for the first time. And then she realizes he's telling her she's not allowed to do those things. But it doesn't click until he hits her for the first time. That's when it gets complicated. Narcissists often avoid taking responsibility for their actions by blaming the victim for abusive behavior. This deflection of guilt makes you feel guilty for the abuse. Okay? So basically what that is saying is, well, if you didn't say or do this or behave like this, I wouldn't be doing this or that. No. You made the conscious effort to fucking say it and do those things. You don't have any right to blame the person that you just victimized. No. Financial abuse is another form of narcissistic abuse where the narcissist controls access to money or finances, resources, making you feel dependent and limiting your ability to leave a narcissistic relationship. Okay? Again, when I was saying about the finances, the example is the woman getting the mortgage in her name and let's start over. So they start off with a good relationship, right? Or so-called. Okay. They get married. They buy a house. Okay. But it comes down to she had better credit, so she got the loan in her name. Okay. Going down the relationship, months, years later, okay, she has a baby or she retires. Okay, so she's at home more. She doesn't work. She doesn't have a solid income. She might have a side gig, something, babysitter or something, but that she doesn't have actual control over her finances anymore. The dude does. Okay. And to begin with, that motherfucker probably did that intentionally, getting her to buy the house so he didn't have the debt on his name. That's another form of manipulative financial abuse, where the abuser will con the victim into the major purchase and then point fingers at them saying, I didn't tell you to do it. That's not my fault. That's not my responsibility. That's yours. That's your vote. That's your loan. That's your mortgage. That's whatever. That's not my responsibility. Or they'll say that and say, the finance is your responsibility. That's not my loan, and I'm not responsible for your finances, or I'm not responsible for your emotional needs when it comes to that. Yeah. Yeah, it's fucked sick. And a lot of women don't realize that they're in this financial abuse setup until they realize, I don't want to be with this guy anymore. And they try to leave, and they're stuck. They try to get the abuser out of the house. They can't. They're stuck. They can't leave the house to go file for divorce. They're stuck. It takes a lot for somebody to get out of this predicament. Women like that have to wait until this motherfucker is passed the fuck out drunk or out of the house before they can silently take a backpack's worth of shit and run. Because they're not going to be able to pack up the fucking house with all their personal belongings. They won't have the time. They'll have to run. Ghost. Let's see here. The silent treatment is a form of punishment to control used by narcissists. They stop all communication and create anxiety and uncertainty in their victims. For example, after a small argument, the narcissist doesn't speak to you for days and you are left confused and desperate for answers. Okay. Women have been doing that to me for years. I just accept that part and throw the truth in their face, a lot of times publicly, so they just can't get away with it. Now, that's another thing. When dealing with a narcissist, the only way for you to win is to be on point, take fucking notes if you have to. And you have to have fucking evidence. Here's your sign kind of fucking evidence. Throw it in their face publicly. Okay? You could be standing face to face in fucking Walmart and have every bit of fucking evidence right there in front of them. Typically, a man or woman, a narcissist, when you embarrass them publicly, they won't do shit. They'll turn tail, tuck tail, and fucking go. And walk away. They won't say shit. It is only in the privacy within the walls of their safe zone where typically a narcissist will abuse the shit out of you. Verbally, emotionally, physically, sexually. Because that's where they feel safe to do it. Okay? To escape a narcissistic abuser It is crucial to recognize the toxic nature of the relationship and take proactive steps to ensure your safety and well-being. The first step involves acknowledging that the relationship has become too harmful to sustain, which is often the most critical part of the process. That's what I've been saying. This recognition can be challenging, as narcissistic abuse can be very difficult to identify. But once you realize the relationship is unhealthy, it is time to take action. Creating a detailed escape plan is essential. This includes documenting abusive behavior, securing important documents, ensuring financial independence. It is also important to establish a support network of trusted friends, family, and professionals who can provide essential and practical assistance during this transition. Additionally, consider seeking legal advice to understand your rights, especially if there are children or pets involved. Once you have a plan in place, it is important to prioritize your safety. This may involve creating a go bag with essential items such as clothing, medication, and important documents which allows you to leave quickly if necessary. If you are in immediate danger, contacting local authorities or authorities or domestic violence hotlines can provide immediate assistance. After leaving, it is crucial to maintain no contact with the abuser to protect your mental health and prevent manipulation. This can be challenging, as narcissists often use tactics to lure you back, but staying committed to your decision is vital to your recovery. Engaging in therapy or joining a support group can also provide valuable guidance, emotional support during the process. Okay, so the go bag, what I mentioned previously, okay? If you are in this situation and you have the opportunity to make a go bag is just it's a term used by a survival community where you have a backpack with all of your essentials that you need to survive, to live, in one bag. Okay? Now, if you are in the situation and you're trying to make this go bag, so in case you have the opportunity to run, you need to have the certain things in place, okay? First and foremost, the most essential, your legal documents. If you are married, make sure you have a copy of that marriage license, okay? The document that says you're married, okay? You also need to make sure you have your birth certificate, your social security card, your driver's license, and any other type of credential that you have, okay? If you are a medical professional, mental health professional, law enforcement, a medic of some type, anything and everything that is legally pertaining to your identity. Okay, you need to have all those documents. Next, I would say a fresh pair of clothes. Socks, underwear, shirt, pants. For your go bag, if you do not have your shoes and socks on when it's time to run, make sure you have clean shoes, socks, pants, underwear, shirt, and some type of jacket if it's that type of weather. Okay? You don't need to run out of the house with your shoes on. Just make sure in your go bag, your shoes, sneakers, running shoes or hiking boots that are flexible, not stiff hiking boots, the type you can run in, okay? This is essential for keeping yourself safe, and it'll give you the most tactical advantage. Do not wear dress shoes, do not pack fucking penny loafers, do not pack fucking flip-flops or fucking some stupid shit, okay? If you have to run and you don't have sneakers, barefoot is your best bet. Okay? Where to go, where to run. Okay, if you do not have a support network such as family and friends, like I'm getting older, the last person I have available to me is my mom. Okay, when she's gone, I won't have a support network no more. So I have to create my own backup. Okay. For myself as a traveling worker, traveling cowboy, I've got different places I can go. Okay, and I know different camping grounds that are public that you don't have to pay for. They're a drive, but it's a safe space. Okay. For victims like this, I would not suggest going out to the middle of nowhere like I go. For victims like this, I would highly recommend going straight to the police department or the sheriff's department. Okay. If you were on foot and you were running with your go bag on your back, flag down the first law enforcement you see and tell them, yes, I know I look crazy. I just escaped an abusive household. He's a narcissist. I need help. Okay? Ask for a women's shelter or go to a church. A lot of the churches on the West Coast, the Adobe style churches, their front door is usually left open. But other Catholic and Christian churches, they always lock the fucking door. They're not worth it. Go to a gas station, a busy gas station. Ask for the police to come there. Okay? You want the most amount of people around you, period. Okay? Here's an example that doesn't pertain to the abusive part, but when I was at Walmart once, somebody tried to pick a fight with me, and he tried to get up in my face and be real quiet about it, and grill in my face, like, motherfucker, if you don't shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of here. No. I took a step back, and started loud and fucking proud, chewing his motherfucking ass in front of fucking everybody. And once he started making that facial expression and realizing I'm not going to let up and I'm not going to let him fucking try and intimidate me in private, once he was embarrassed in public, he backed the fuck off. Okay? So my point about that is you want the most amount of people possible to know that a narcissist is fucking with you, they're being abusive to you, and you're trying to escape the motherfucker. If you publicly embarrass this motherfucker, they will back the fuck off. It takes a ballsy ass narcissistic abuser to snatch your ass up and shove you back in the fucking car and tell you to shut the fuck up. These days, if somebody tried to do that, the motherfucker get jumped, no matter where you are in the world. Mainly here in America. If a woman is being abused in public, somebody's gonna fucking jump his ass. Guaranteed. But like I said, most times narcissists are more covert. They'll wait until they're in their safe zone within the walls of their home to do it. That's why I say thoroughly embarrass the shit out of the motherfucker while in public. And when you do that, don't go home. Okay? If you were the victim and you found the courage to embarrass this motherfucker in public, don't go home. Don't go home. Because it will get worse. Okay? So this is a tactic I'm saying to as like the final blow, like fighting the boss mode, right? You gotta do it with a shebang. All right. Now, the video I made yesterday, I was talking about the movie Enough with Jennifer Lopez, how she broke free of that abusive household. And I was critiquing the different things that she was doing. That's probably why I'm not allowed to post that video. Let's just say I want you to be on point. I want you to take notes. I want you to get clear-headed. You cannot do this intoxicated. You got to get sober. You got to get clear-headed, okay? If you have opportunities when this motherfucker goes to work to dip out, do it, okay? Whether it's to go to the police or to family or to gather information, to gather skills, to gather something, okay? Or is it just to escape? Fucking escape. If you have the opportunity and this motherfucker goes to work and leaves you for 4 to 6, 8 hours a day, that's your opportunity to run. I'd highly recommend you get the fuck out. I think I'm going to end it there. This is at 40 minutes now. I just want to put that out there and make sure people understand that this stuff can be very, very subtle. Okay? Now, before we get off of here, I don't want you to take this information and believe that, oh, my boyfriend and my girlfriend, my spouse, they do this to me every once in a while. No. That's not narcissistic abuse, that's just being a fucking asshole. Okay? A narcissistic abuser is consistently, from the time they fucking wake up to the fucking time they go to sleep, behaving in this manner, being ill towards people, and consistently destroying people's lives. Non-stop, all day, every minute of the fucking day, it's something. Okay? That's what a narcissist is. A narcissist isn't a woman having a bad hair day. Or a man and his grumpy moment. Okay? Every month, a man goes through emotional wave. Okay? No man is consistent throughout the entire month. Okay? Women are like this. On a chart, that's their emotions. A man's emotions is this. Okay? Down here at the slope, the grumpy moments. Okay? That's when a woman needs to take care of his needs. That's also the moments that a man needs to take care of a woman's needs. Physically, emotionally, and otherwise. Okay? So yeah, a narcissist is consistent, non-stop, okay? It's not just a subtle one-off thing once a week or once a month, okay? It's not a woman's monthly visitor. It's not a man's stereotypical behavior. A man's grumpy or gruff. No, motherfuckers. We're not supposed to be that way. Okay? If a man is like that constantly, there's something wrong in his life. Okay? But if a man acts like this, or if a woman acts like this, from the time he or she wakes the fuck up to the time that he or she goes to bed, that's a narcissist. That's an abuser. Forms of control, disrespect. Yeah. So, I hope this made sense, and I hope everybody got a little bit of something out of it. I hope you understand what narcissist abuse is, and verbal and emotional abuse, period. It doesn't necessarily have to come from a narcissist, but that's typically where it comes from. It's a type of control, okay? Yeah, so I hope you all have a beautiful day, and I hope if something ever happens in your life, and you know me, you'll have the courage to reach out and at least use the code words burn book for information and bring your guitars, and I'll show up. Okay? Y'all have a beautiful day. Thanks for coming by. Later.